Hello, my friend. This is Andy Falco Jimenez coming to you live from Yorba Linda and the Vote, PYL Vote studio. I was contacted after my earlier video talking about the school board meeting today at 7 o'clock that you should also be to. I obviously went to a public school, be at. And that is, there is a meeting at 7 o'clock. That's the regular school board meeting. But I was contacted and made aware of, and it does show up on the PYLUSD.org website, that there's a special meeting at 4:30. And man, I have been, I would have been on earlier, but I just had to, a little bit of it had to calm down from what it is that this meeting is about. It is crazy. We have some lunatics, truly some lunatics in our school district that, and one that just left, obviously the superintendent that just left, James Alsasser, who unfortunately for the people in, wow, I forget, Redlands. I'm not sure. I forget where he went, but he is a part of another school district now. And I want to say Redland, but I'm not sure. If anybody knows that's watching, please put it in the comments to let me know, to warn the people what is coming their way. And then we have the 2.5 lunatics that are still on our school board that just they play the they play from the same playbook. They act from the same playbook as the National Liberal Party, crazy liberal party. Now, again, I'm pretty hard on Democrats, but yeah, there's some Democrats that aren't as crazy. I've met some. I've had them on my show. There's one of in particular that I've developed a great friendship with, and so I've been trying to be very careful, especially on the Vote PYL Vote, that to say that there are some moderate Democrats and some independents and some conservatives that are not crazy, that they do want their kids to be educated. They do want equality in our school between all colors of kids, all racial aspects of our school district, and all religions of children that attend our school and of their parents. That there's an equality of high standard, that we want all the kids to learn. We want them to be above 50%. As a matter of fact, we would love for them to be above 90%. How about that? Right now, we're at 40 some odd percent in the ability to read, write, and count and think. And so we could all agree, all of us on that level, that want our kids educated, want them to be highly educated, want them to know how to critically think, and not to be used as pawns in a political battle of liberals who are obviously wanting our not only our country to go communist and socialist, but want our school district to go in that same direction. So this meeting at 4:30 has been called apparently by the president, the current president of the school board, who wants to do whatever she can to bring charges of violation of the Brown Act, which is, again, what she's doing is typical of a crazy liberal in that, and we're seeing it on the news in every aspect of our national and state politics, is that whatever they are doing or have done or have violated, they then turn around and try to make an accusation and make a showing or a public hanging of somebody who's, number one, not violating any Brown Act, but wanted to pretend that they are, and then because they have the power to bring a special meeting. It is Carrie Buck and Freeman, and in many ways Marilyn Anderson are clearly using the school board to attack a political rival and potential political rivals that are running for their seats. And so they're currently tonight at 4:30 going to use the school board and the school board meeting to attack their political opponents, not based on truth, but based on a lie. And that is happening at 4:30. So this is important for all parents. I don't care if you're a Democrat, if you're independent, if you're a conservative, if you care about the future of our schools in the school district, you will attend to fight against what Carrie Buck and Freeman and Marilyn Anderson are supporting, and that is an attack on political opponents, using the school board, using superintendents, and using the DA, Todd Spitzer, against their political opponents. That's exactly what's happening today. As I said earlier and showed, that there is so much going on in our school district that I'm pretty sure there's many parents that either they simply don't know because they're busy, they got jobs, they're hoping that when they drop their kids off in the morning that they're going to be educated, and they don't want to really participate or know much more than that because they think maybe perhaps that it's all silly, or maybe perhaps that it's not that important, that it's not going to affect them because their kid is different or what have you. But they're wrong. You are wrong. If you're watching this for the very first time, if you're a parent who has friends that are friends with other parents of school, that you need to alert them to a problem that there are 2.5 school board members. I say 2.5 because Marilyn Anderson is a wobbler, and I'm almost not even willing to say that much anymore. She did vote, for banning CRT, but other than that, she's clearly not the person that you voted for. If you voted for her to think that she was going to protect our kids' mental health and physical health, the 2.5 people that I'm talking about, Carrie Buck, Freeman, and in many cases Marilyn, do not care about the health of your kids mentally or physically, because they have they intendedly masked your children, even though there was no state law, there was no state requirement for the kids to be masked, yet they continued the lie. And Carrie Buck so much as lied in meetings, especially the ones that she shut down, because she wanted to be a dictator and take it upon herself to cancel meetings because she felt that all your children needed to be masked, no matter how it was felt by you as a parent, or what the truth was in relationship to these suggestions by the state and the Orange County Board of Health, that they suggested that children be masked. It was all a suggestion. There was no law. There was no mandate that anybody would have been fined for any school district. That was all a lie. So you got to show up today at 4:30, because what Buck and Freeman and Anderson are going to attempt to do is to use the school district to bully 2 other board members who fought for your children and attempted to have an emergency meeting to address something that was going on in the school, which was very important. It was stopping children from being educated. There was a time where teachers, based on their political leanings, were deciding what kids could go to school and what kids could not go to school, which is entirely against the law. That this was going on a regular basis, and Leandra Blades and Sean Youngblood cared enough about the kids that they were requesting, and especially Leandra Blades was requesting an emergency meeting. What Buck and Freeman and Anderson are doing is they're going to use the school board meeting to claim that is a violation of some Brown Act code, which is non-existent, that a school board member can call for a meeting and an emergency meeting for that matter. And then it goes to a vote. They voted not to have that meeting. Of course, Marilyn, Buck, and Freeman voted not to, and there was no meeting. So there is no violation of the Brown Act. Leandra did exactly what that she's required to do as a representative of parents, and that is an attempting to protect the kids, to call an emergency meeting because there's many kids that were being harmed, and it was voted down, and the meeting was not had. There's no violation of the Brown Act, but yet they're going to use a meeting today to make this claim. And every parent that cares about their kids should go to fight against what it is that Buck, Freeman, and Anderson are going to attempt to do, and that is to use the school board member to attack their political opponents. And that's exactly what's happening. I brought this up too, and that is to understand what really is another really important thing that's going to probably be brought up, if it's not brought up at the 7 o'clock meeting, but in future meetings. And this is anything that they can put into our schools that promotes equity, racial equity, LGBTQ equity, anything with the word equity is dangerous and harmful to our children. And when you see this in the web-based programs that they're putting into our schools and forcing our kids to go on to and spend a lot of time knowing that it's indoctrinating our children in this idea that there should be equity in our school, that they are being indoctrinated in a harmful philosophy and idea that has been tried in other countries, and it's failed miserably. It has been tried, and they've been attempting to get this and have succeeded in universities and colleges and many schools across the United States, that this is something that is harmful to our children. What you need to know is that equality is what our country is based off of. It's in our Constitution, and it seeks to protect individuals' rights regardless of race, religion, and sexual orientation. Understand that equality seeks to protect individual rights regardless of race, sexual leanings, and religion. Equity, whenever you hear this, you need to know that it's racist. Equity seeks to divide the world, including our schools, including the students that attend schools, including teachers that are teaching in the schools. It seeks to divide the world into competing racial groups and ensures race-based equality of outcomes, endorsing active racial discrimination to get there. And again, this has been tried for a very long time. Now, I know this particular video is meant for just alerting you to a 4:30 meeting that is being called to use the school board and the district superintendents to attack Buck and Freeman's and Anderson's opponents, political opponents. But I want to bring this to your attention because it's important, because you're going to hear about it a lot. And that is this issue between equality and equity. I have this book here, and I brought it up in the show that I did about the 7 o'clock meeting, and that is one that is called "Color, Communism, and Common Sense." Oh man, it's blacking it out because it's green, and I'm using green screen technology right now. But the title is there. It's not being redacted. It's actually there. It just has a green background, and you can't see it. Let's see if I can move it to the white. And no, I thought maybe you might be able to see it there. But anyway, it's called "Color, Communism, and Common Sense." It's by Manning Johnson. It was edited by Archibald B. Roosevelt. This is Manning Johnson right here, the man who wrote the book that I'm about to read. And it's important that I show you what he looks like and who he is, because in there he uses the word Negro. I'm going to try to replace that with African American. I think that's probably better than using the word Negro because it's in there a number of times. Now, liberals will take that out and say that I'm saying this word that's no longer accepted. But anyway, it's his writing. He wrote it. Those are his words. I'm quoting from his book. And the important thing you need to know is that this was copywritten in 1958, which means it was probably written somewhere in the 1940s, early 1950s. And what Mr. Johnson is discussing in this book is how the communists in Moscow, Russia, were using African Americans in the United States to spread communism. And again, this was written back, copywritten in 1958. So I'm reading you a book that was written long ago. That, remember earlier when I started this broadcast, I talked about the playbook that sorry, Leandra, not you, that Buck starts with the same letter. Buck and Anderson and Freeman are playing from or using as their playbook today to attack the other two school board members is from this book, essentially. They may not have read this book. They might not know it, but there's a playbook for what it is that they are doing, where they're using the school board meeting and the superintendents and the DA, the district attorney for Orange County, Todd Spitzer. They're using them to attack their political opponents with a lie. but something that is simply not true. And so in the chapter 7, you're going to want to get this book, by the way. And again, I'm sorry you can't see it, but it's called Color, Communism, and Common Sense. In chapter 7, called Creating Hate, is something you need to hear. And I'm not going to read the whole chapter, but I'm going to read a few paragraphs here. And this is really important. And I'm going to replace where it says red with liberals, because Mr. Johnson does that and talks about that this is a liberal thought pattern in regard to communism. And so it'll be easier because he uses the color, he uses red. Red can be confusing considering conservatives' color is red, but red is communism in the sense that how this book is written, which is also liberalism. So coming down into the 4th paragraph of chapter 7, it says Moscow's Black African Americans tools in the incitement of racial warfare place all the ills of the African American at the door of the white leaders of America. Capitalism and imperialism are made symbols of oppressive white rule in keeping with instructions from the Kremlin or the Liberal Party. To one familiar with liberal trickery, it is obvious that placing the blame for all the African Americans' ills at the door of the white leaders in America, or conservative leaders in America, is to remove all responsibility from the African American. This tends to make the African American believe that and feel sorry for themselves, blame others for his failures, ignore the countless opportunities around him, jealous of the progress of other racial and national groups, expect the white man to do everything for him, look for easy and quick solutions as a substitute for the harsh realities of competitive struggle to get ahead. Now, remember, this is an African American who is being used by the communists in Moscow, Russia, to create, and they're being used in America to create this belief that conservatives are doing all these things, holding them back. They need to feel they need African Americans to feel sorry for themselves. They want to believe that the conservatives are the cause of all their ill will, and the loss of countless opportunities. Going on, the result is a persecution complex, a warped belief that the white man's or conservative man's prejudices, the white man's system, the white man's government is responsible for everything. Such a belief is a way the liberals plan it. For the next logical step is hate that can be used by the Reds to accomplish their ends. Remembering what I told you between the difference between equity and equality. They don't want African Americans, Hispanics, Asian Americans, and other religious groups to believe that they're on an equal plane with everybody else. They want there to be a divide. If they have a divide, then they have power. They have the ability to coerce or to make people feel that it is somebody else's fault that they're going through the troubles that they're going through. And this is their playbook. In their campaign against the white leaders in America, again, the conservative leaders in America, the liberals are careful to point out that this does not apply to the white leaders of Russia or the liberals. It does not apply to the white liberals and their counterparts in America. This creates the illusion that the white liberals are different, that they are the friends and champions of the African Americans. This is the same sucker bait the liberals use to win and use millions of white people now under the whiplash of Soviet tyranny. This is how you get all the white people to create Antifa, to support Black Lives Matter. This is how they do it. And this is written in this book, which was copywritten again in 1959. The fact that the liberals have never contributed anything tangible to the progress of the African American is overlooked. Though the liberals have collected millions of dollars, where have we seen that before? As a result of race incitement. Like the Liberal Party, the NAACP has collected millions of dollars through exploitation of race issues. Again, equity and inclusion, race equity, religious equity. Anytime there's equity in there, they're creating the illusion, and they are collecting millions of dollars through exploitation of race issues. The bigger the race issue, the bigger the appeal and the bigger the contributions. Last year, and this is again copywritten in 1959, last year, according to Roy Wilkins, the NAACP had the greatest financial year in its history. When did the BLM corporation or organization have its biggest year? It was last year or 2 years ago, when they had created a rift between police and the African community. And they had their highest level of influx of money in that organization, because they were able to create the illusion of a race war. This is in this book in 1959. I'm just keep wanting to remind you, written by an African-American man by the name of Manning Johnson. So this goes on. Yet one cannot find any report of any of this money being spent for factories and shops to provide jobs, land and home constructions, specialized training for talented youth, hospitals, convalescent homes, classes in sanitation, and personal hygiene care, upkeep of property, combating crime and juvenile delinquency centers to aid Negro youth in preparing to meet stiff employment competition in science and industry. So essentially, and I know you probably understood it, but I'm just going to explain that all of these millions of dollars that was raised at this time in 1959, probably somewhere around 1957, 1958, all the money that was put into the NAACP, the millions of dollars that they raised because race wars were being pushed at that time, just as they were a couple of years ago here in the United States, across our country, and the millions of dollars that went into the Black Lives Matter organization, that yet not one person can find a report of any of the money being used to help the African community at all. Instead, you see them buying mansions. Instead, you see them spending money on themselves and paying their family members in nonsense jobs, millions and millions of dollars, but not one red cent. That's not good. Not 1 cent is put into the African-American community. And I'm going to read one more paragraph, I think, here. And that is, it is then no accident that the NAACP is dubbed the National Association of the Agitation of Colored People. The record speaks for itself. Millions for agitation, not 1 cent for those things that win the respect and acclaim of other races and national groups. Listen, tonight, the school board, the district is going to be used to attack a political opponent of Freeman, of Buck, and of Anderson. And you need to be there as a parent of children that go to the Placentia Yorba Linda Unified School District, and you need to stop this madness. This is not the way that our school district and our school board meetings are meant to be used. Carrie Buck has lied on her Twitter feed, saying that these two amazing school board members, Leandra Blades and Sean Youngblood, have in fact violated the Brown Act. That is not true. They have not in fact done that. She is lying. She lied when she canceled the previous meetings back when the mask mandates were still at least they were enforcing them. And she ended the meeting without a vote. She lied that said that the masks were required. The state nor the Orange County Department of Public Health had any requirement. There was no requirement. They were recommendations of masking, and the meetings were ended without considering what the parents wanted in regard to discussions about masking, about some of these things that they were calling mandates in our schools. And she lied on the record about these potential discussions that she had with the county and what was required of her. They were complete lies. What they're doing tonight at 4:30 is they are going to look for a way that they can continue this lie and attempt to get anybody that will listen to believe that Leandra Blades and Sean Youngblood violated anything, which is not true. There was no violation. In the description, I put a link to a Rumble video that you can see that is included in there. And I want to get the name of the organization correct. Sorry. It is called the gavel something. So sorry. Of course, I don't have it handy here. I gotta click something here. If somebody's watching that knows off the top of their head what it's called, I don't have it handy, unfortunately. Let's see. The Gavel Project. So to go to the Gavel Project, the link is thegavelproject.com. All of it is in the description. So if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, you can go in the description. You will find, I even put in their description of the video on Rumble about what it is that is going to be happening tonight. I think it's important that you watch the video. It's about an hour and a half long, so do it soon so you can watch it before the meeting tonight. If you don't want to watch it or don't have time, much of what's happening tonight is in the description of that video on Rumble. I put that in my description for this video, and the links are in there too. So you can click on it and watch the video. And then at the bottom of their description, the Gavel Project is a 501c3 public charity. And again, what I've said on previous PYL Vote broadcasts is that I believe that Buck, Freeman, and Anderson and the school district superintendents are forgetting is that we have quite a number of talented parents in this community. And if you want to really take us on in regard to legal matters and want to go take all of this to court, we surely have enough parents who have the resources and the intelligence and who are attorneys and have dealt with, like myself, I've been in law enforcement for several years. I currently investigate law enforcement agencies. I've told you about what my wife's background is as an attorney and contractor for the United States of America. And we have a large community here of very talented parents who will be more than willing to take on some of these subjects in a court of law and bury the school district in lawsuits and continue this. If you want to continue this meeting tonight in the way that you're deciding to use it to attack these two amazing school board members, Leandra Blades and Sean Youngblood, then go ahead and have this meeting tonight. I will be there, and I'm encouraging every parent that cares about their kids' health, physically and mentally, to be there to stop Buck and Freeman and Anderson from using their position on the school board to politically attack these fine members of our community. All right, my friends, that is it. Again, 4:30. Bring people with you. Show up, be there, be strong, and be willing to speak on the behalf of Leandra Blades and Sean Youngblood. Ryan Bent, the Gavel Project. Thank you. I appreciate that. I had trouble finding it in the beginning. So Ryan Bent running for city council here in Yorba Linda. Make sure and vote for Ryan Bent on November. What is it? So 56 days from now. Make sure and show up and vote for Ryan. Vote for Todd, Frazier, and Rich Engel. All their links, by the way, are in the description. If you need the link to go to their websites, Ryan's included. Go there and click on the link and find his website. All right, my friends. Love you guys. We'll see you at the meeting tonight. Be there. Bring people with you. Do not let the school board tyrants use it in the way that they're going to attempt to use it tonight. All right, my friends. Talk to you later. Take care. Bye.